The following program is a public access production. Comcast is required to provide time on this channel and make it available pursuant to franchise agreements with the communities we serve. Comcast is not affiliated with the following program or the producers of public access programming and is not responsible for the content. The following program does not reflect the opinions of Comcast or its affiliates.
Welcome to another episode of All Fired Up. I'm Chuck Parker.
And I'm Bob Farster.
And we are here with the one and only Brandon, the Paranormal Road Warrior. What's up, brother?
Hey, how's it going? Nice to have you here.
All the way from Tennessee.
And I'd like to interrupt Chuck just for a second because a lot of your viewers out there probably wonder where our idol, or well, not idol, but our mascot is, Billy. Well, Chuck couldn't get him to come out of the ground. It's hot out. He said it's 55 degrees. He's not coming, so.
And I don't think they care. Do you think they care, Bob?
There's somebody out there that does care, Chuck.
Yeah, maybe one or two people.
But anyhow.
So, you are known as a Paranormal Road Warrior. You're all over the place. You're a hard-working paranormal dude doing conferences and doing talks and cancer benefits and a lot of other stuff. But let's boil this down right to the very, very beginning, when you got started in the paranormal, because that's what I like to get out of the way.
And what made you start to get in it?
Well, basically, I guess I can thank Obama for that. I mean, in 2007, 2008, I was a director at a management consulting firm during the recession. My 86-year-old firm shut their doors. So I was basically on unemployment. And I sat there and I watched the paranormal shows and I reflected on things that had happened while growing up, and basically I just shrugged my shoulders to all that. You know, I didn't think it was real, and I watched these shows, and I was like, I wonder if there is something to this. So I actually joined up with a team. I went out to Bachelor's Grove Cemetery outside of Chicago.
Been
here.
there.
My first investigation, I captured a picture of a little boy.
On the tree? That one?
No.
What's the one on the tree? I think I saw it on Facebook. Didn't you? Where was the little boy?
He was outside of the gate.
Okay.
So
That's pretty wild.
Many of the investigators in the field call it the Holy Grail shot. I caught that on the first day. He's actually in 4 different books.
You can actually see the outline?
You can see the part in his hair to the suit. And I also caught an EVP that day that said, "Leave this place." And
Leave this place.
And from that moment on, I was just hooked.
Now, if I heard that EVP, because now you're talking about things that I'm really interested in, would I say, or this is what it sounds like?
It's pretty distinctive. I mean,
because they grade those, don't they?
Sure. Yeah, you
What
have different
grade
classes.
do you think it is?
It's a Class A, obviously.
Okay.
I mean, I had several people listen to it. All the members of the original team that I was on, they agreed. And like I said, from that moment on, I would end up forming my own team. It was Past Paranormal Activity Specialist Team, which later would become Past of Illinois, because when I would move down to Tennessee, then I would form Past of Tennessee. So,
What made you move to Tennessee?
Actually, it would be my late wife. I also became the founder and the president of the Past Family Network. Basically, what that is it's 80 plus teams and independents across the country And basically when cases come in, I assign them to the team. They handle it, so we take care of a lot of families and whatnot. Well, when I'm not touring, I like to go work with as many past family teams as I can. And I just happened to go down in Tennessee. I met my wife, and the rest was history. I knew I needed to be in Tennessee, and
it certainly beats the heck out of Chicago.
you think?
Yeah, I had a girlfriend at Amy Brunella who died 2011 of breast cancer also.
Yeah. Nancy would pass away in last year, 2015. So,
So you do charities.
yeah. As a result of
that,
it,
right.
well, I took a 2.5-year retirement while she was fighting her cancer. I returned the 1 month anniversary of her death because she wanted me back in the field. She always said, you need to be doing great things for this field. And as a result, she was a woman that was very active with helping people. So I've kind of picked up her torch and continue her work. So, I'm doing a lot of charity work for Base Camp, which is a children's cancer foundation. Cuddles for Cancer, I collect bears at my events, and those will be distributed to children who are fighting cancer within hospitals. I'm doing breast cancer, Journey for Hope. I mean, the list is just long.
Yeah, you just rock it.
That's pretty good.
That's good.
Yeah,
That's excellent.
Yeah, so it's what she wanted me to do, and it's the right thing to do.
Exactly.
You know.
Exactly. You just did a little convention with Keith Age, didn't you?
Yeah, we did a meet and greet last week.
No, all that was a meet and greet. There wasn't any
it was just
investigations.
no,
it was
no.
just kind of meeting.
It was just, yeah.
And where was that at?
That was in Indianapolis last week. And basically, the rain kind of killed it. There were supposed to be a lot more teams there. I think they were saying there was going to be like 90.
Really?
If I had to guess, 35 showed up. So,
Teams, though.
Yeah, and then also haunted locations as well had their booths there. So I was doing a lot of networking for future events for 2017.
I got a question for you. What do you think, and tell the viewers, what would be what you think is your top-rated paranormal sighting and investigation you ever did?
Well, gosh, there's been so
Which
many.
I was going to say, it's probably a hard thing, because if you asked me that, and I've done a lot of them too, I don't think I could name just one.
But you might
I
have
would
maybe-
name like 5 or 6.
Yeah,
Right.
top
and
ones.
out of that, what
One's
would you
gonna be a
take,
toughie.
I mean, I have over 300 some investigations, but the one that stands out the most as the most scariest and the one that had the most impact was last summer. Actually, coming right out of retirement in July. In August, I went down to Alabama for a residential case. It was a 10-acre farm. So you had slave spirits there.
Oh, wow. Yeah, real old one then.
Yeah.
Where was it at again?
Alabama.
Okay.
Slave spirits. You also have Native American spirits there. And then I came to find out that part of the Sulphur Creek battle was fought on that land, which is the bloodiest battle of Alabama, over 9,000.
Oh, wow. How old was the house? I mean, was it pre...
No, the house was, I want to say 70s or 80s.
Also, it's a newer house, but
Yeah.
it's...
But
it doesn't matter, because it's on
right,
the ground.
because
Exactly,
it was where it
exactly,
was
That's
at.
what people don't get.
Yeah. No, I mean, you could have your house on a...
I mean, you live in a
grave.
100-year-old, 110-year-old house.
Well, you also know that there was a house before that, and the Kellogg Trace Trail, which runs through... You should come out to my place.
I
where
know.
There's
to get 'em
Abraham
out
Lincoln,
there.
Zachary Taylor. I've actually had archaeologists on my property, and I knew it was an Indian trail. It's like when you see the land's level, and all of a sudden there's a big sunken in, it curves and goes around through the property. They said it was the Kellogg Trace Trail, and they had said there's an Indian campsite here, and I got 2 huge digs on where they dug out probably 50, 70 years digging deep in the ground to get their flint to
Right.
make their arrowhead. So
Wow.
yeah, so I'm interested in that. I understand how it is with the grounds too. You know?
Right. So, but anyways, we started the residential, and part of the team went into the house. I didn't want to go in the house. I wanted to go down the street where there was this train trestle, and they fought over this trestle 3 times.
Oh wow, that's
Okay.
still original one from the Civil War.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
It's it's a tunnel, and then it has walls like this. Now, on the other side is water, so you can only get in one way. So we went in there. It was myself and another girl, and she was a skeptic, so I was really pleased that she was joining me. And we got in there, and immediately we heard a disembodied voice, you know, and I was like, what was that? And we were hearing footsteps, loud, soft, and we kept hearing this weird noise. It was just, I can't even really do it. It was just like a, and I kept saying, what is that?
Like somebody breathing heavy.
Yeah, I'm like, what is making that noise?
Now, did you hear it close to you?
No,
Did
we
you hear
just
it at
kept
a
hearing
distance,
it.
or just?
It was hard to tell. It was pitch black in that tunnel. And we had been down there, I want to say a good 30, 45 minutes, and all of a sudden I was just like, I need to get out of here. And I stood up, and she goes, yeah, I'm ready to go too.
So you felt something
Yeah, we both
more on the
sensed it.
evil side.
Something, you know, the sixth sense.
Just wasn't right.
Yeah, and so I started to walk towards the tunnel, and I was like, what is that? And I shined my flashlight down there. I'm like, shine your flashlight down there. And all of a sudden, 2 eyes appeared. And I was like, what? I was like, shoot, get out of here.
Thought it was an animal?
Yeah. And so remember,
Distance-wise, how high was it?
it was about this high, but remember you had the walls. What it started doing was doing this.
Oh, okay.
And then I stomped my foot, get out of here. And I thinking it's an animal. It started ducking down and peeking. I'm just going, what the heck? And so I picked up a rock about that big, and I chucked it down there. Thump. It just blinked its eyes at me, and I was just like, oh my God, what is this? And I remember her saying,
The eyes red?
no, they were greenish yellow.
Okay,
That's
see,
why I thought it was an animal.
Well, see, but most of the time the animals will be kind of red. Most of the time.
Is it?
Well, you had little LED lights on them.
I think we had LED. I didn't. She may have. I'm not sure. But
That's gonna.
right. And so, but what it ended up being was an elemental. And
A what?
An elemental.
Which is?
Non-human. It's a non-human spirit. I didn't know what it was at the time, because the story actually goes even further. Because when we got back to the house, I was done. I had had enough of the investigation. I sat out on the porch for 2.5, 3 hours. I didn't even tell the team what was going on with me. And so the next day, I had my first radio interview from coming back, and I'm like, man, I don't feel right. And so I went to the pool, did the radio interview. The next day and a half, I battled fevers.
Wow.
And they were at the point where I was praying for death. They were
So
that
something
bad.
was attached.
Well, basically,
You think,
what
right?
what happened was, and I talked to enough people that were experienced with elementals because I wanted to figure out.
Never
what
heard
this
that.
was.
All these years I've done it, I've
Yeah,
never heard of it.
neither have I. They're and someone's probably going to correct me. They're part of Native American spirits.
Okay.
It's almost like not a curse, but they're territorial. They take care of, and it's a native spirit, Native American spirit. So anyways, but it's non-human. So basically what had happened was that spirit, which I had never run into anything like that in my life, drained. I had no
Like your
immune.
energy.
I had no immune system,
Wow.
and that's why a lot of people say that elementals are bad. They're really protecting their territory, and I don't know a whole lot about them because I had never run into
Right.
it. I'd never even heard of an elemental, and someone said, Brandon, you know what that was, right? No, what was that? Because you have to understand, if I hear the word demonic, super negative, I don't go into those cases. I have teams within the past family
Right.
That will do that stuff?
Yes, myself. I have a responsibility of not only keeping myself safe, but my team. If we're not specialized in that,
Yeah, I wouldn't want to go into
Yeah.
a demonic thing on something like that.
no.
I'd be one specialized in maybe a priest or something.
Exactly. So so that was the most
Quite
memorable.
frankly, it scares me too. And
You
none
know-
of that stuff scares me. But that kind of just
Well,
puts me
I
over
mean,
the edge.
I haven't run into a demonic, but I have seen a possessed woman. I was 18 years old. I was
I
living.
married one.
No,
Hello.
no comment.
Wow.
Go ahead.
Anyways, alimony check will be in the mail. Anyways,
Make the bed upstairs, Bob. That's where I'm going to be at.
All right. There's plenty of rooms there.
so I was 18 years old and living in Huntington Beach, California, and my neighbors were having a Bible study, and they said they were bringing a possessed woman. I was like,
wow.
ooh, I need to be there.
Yeah, I just want to check that
Yeah,
out.
of course. I was 18 years old, and you know, they're like, whatever you do, don't look in her eyes. Oh, of course, I'm gonna look in her eyes.
Well, yeah, because now you told me not to.
Yeah,
Yeah, right.
So
I'm gonna see what's going on.
Don't touch his button.
It was dark. It was different, and she was swearing like she had Tourette's during the whole
Right.
Bible study.
Which she probably
But
did.
that's not what convinced me. They had a husky dog they put outside for the Bible study. I watched that dog for 30 minutes trying to rip the door down to the point where its mouth was bleeding like Cujo.
Trying to
That's
get
bizarre.
in?
Get in.
That's
That's
bizarre.
when I knew
Yeah.
it was trying
Animals-
to get
yeah,
in
animals will sense
to
things we don't.
protect its owners, and I knew she was possessed. And the funny thing is I always thought that was super cool that I had witnessed that. Well, during my retirement, I only watched one movie. I personally know Andrea Perron. She wrote the book, The Conjuring, and Annabelle.
Right.
Right? Yeah, I'm
So,
familiar with that.
anyways, I was watching The Conjuring. It was the only horror flick I watched while I was in retirement. And there was a scene where they were doing the exorcism in the basement, and it brought back all those memories, what happened at that Bible study. And I'm like, that wasn't cool. And those are the two most freakiest things. And the one, I wasn't even in the field yet.
Well, see, I'd like to, if you ever wanted to, you'd stay at my house for free. But there's a Winston Tunnel. It's the longest tunnel in the state of Illinois. People don't
We
know
shot
about
there,
it.
right?
That's right. It's half a mile long, but it goes where a lady actually went and laid in the tracks. And when the train came through, of course, they come out the tunnel. They can't see her, you know, and
Right.
they just went right over. And a lot of people say you'd come there to the tunnel and you'd see her walking around the place, you know. And,
Now-
and that was built by Chinese coolies. And I mean,
Well, a lot of those things were built by the Chinese.
yeah,
back
I mean,
then.
and then there was a couple guys. There's a tombstone there that says Vic Hurley, killed in the tunnel. It gives the date, you know, when it caved in on him, you
Right.
know. And he just,
Actually, we shot that when I was doing my documentary, Ghosts in Galena, with Keith Age's people from Kentucky.
LGHS, I think it is.
Yeah, and it was so funny because that was hard to get down there, wasn't it?
yeah, yeah.
And these guys are not in the best of shape.
Oh yeah, this is crazy.
And I consider myself in pretty darn good shape
For an old guy.
for an old guy. And I'm walking down this
I'm
hill.
over both of you, man.
And I'm walking down this hill. Hey, wait! I got to stretch. We start fighting here. No, but you see these guys stop and going.
And that was on the
And
way
they got-
down. You had to see when had you get up.
You have to get back
Oh,
up,
yeah, it
and
was
I
really
and
bad.
I know that because I've done the Grand Canyon, and I've
Right.
done Mount McKinley, so I know going down's kind of easy. And if you're huffing and puffing,
Going down,
you got
yeah.
to go up that
Yeah, it took
way.
a long time.
So anyway, that was a cool place. Do you use any psychics?
No.
Why not? You know any good ones?
Yeah,
I
do
know. I
I know a lot of good ones.
I need a couple in this area.
I mean, I know a lot of good ones, but when I do an investigation, I don't want to base it off feelings. I try to be more scientific.
More facts and what you
yeah,
see, right.
facts, actual meter hits. You know, if I do have a medium or a psychic on an investigation, or a sensitive, because Nancy was sensitive, and she would write things down because I would. I don't want any discussion during an investigation.
Oh no, because
But
I could see
afterwards-
how it would influence it.
Influence
And it
there, that's the
influenced
word.
even-
Yes.
I think if somebody's telling me,
Yes.
see, then it's going to subconsciously influence
Yep.
even my mind for what I might see.
But
So
I think that's
understand.
just a technique of doing it. And I had this discussion, if you will, with those paranormal cops from A&E.
Yeah.
I had them on my show. I like these guys. But when I said that I like psychics, it's my prerogative.
Mm-hmm.
I could like them. If they're good. I don't believe in 3/4 of them.
Right.
Right? But I asked him, I said, so you had, which lives in Galena, by the way. Paranormal Cops
Right.
is in your area.
I forget her name.
I can't think of it either. She's great. And these guys said, no, she was great. So I said, all right, so here's the deal. If you know that guy in the railroad tracks, blah, 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 was
Woman.
run over, well, the woman was run over and some other guy died, but the psychic doesn't know it.
Right, exactly. There you go.
Now
Right.
the psychic comes into that scenario and starts naming names and how they died and stuff like
Well, no,
that.
that's kinda
my
convincing
question
to
to
me.
the paranormal cop dude, Ron. I said,
Ron Faber,
"Well,
yeah.
isn't that proof?" He goes, "No, It was a little cigar. No, absolutely not.
But you got to do the
and
voice.
I go, absolutely not. I go, well, yeah, Ron, it is. Because the proof is that they didn't have a clue about what was going
Exactly.
on or how they died or whatever. So that has to be proof.
Yeah, to me it would be, because especially if they even say a first name or something. I mean, okay, and to me, if you brought somebody from the outside, for instance, somebody that wasn't from the area that knew nothing of it.
Best example,
You know?
and I don't know if I told you this story, and I'm going to make it quick, but
I hope
second
so.
show I ever did. It'll be 2 minutes longer than my introduction.
All right, continue, Chuck.
I will. So shut up. Don't derail me here on this. I'm using a psychic. Second show I ever did for Paranormal Show. Got cameramen, blah, blah, blah. I'm interviewing the wife or the mother and a 22-year-old. We're in the basement of this old Desplaines house. The kid goes, I'm not going in that room. I go, why not? He goes, and I'm filming him. He goes, because I saw a little girl with her hands over
Oh, wow.
over in the corner on the cinder block. And I go, well, I want to tape you while you're pointing out where you saw it, and then we can get out of there. I talked him into it. Fast forward, my psychic came into the picture, who I thought was the best I've ever seen in my, I did probably 30, 40 investigations with him, nailed every single thing 100%, names, everything. We're on walkie-talkies. He goes, there's a guy in the corner, which this kid said when he's doing laundry. He sees a guy with a hat. What do you call those hats?
Top hat?
No, like a...
Visor?
Like a beanie hat?
It doesn't matter. He
Like,
sees-
like from the 20s or 30s?
Yeah, like a 20s or 30s.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So, and it seems like mean. Again, my guy goes down there, goes, I'm coming upstairs real fast. He goes, there's something mean down here. I'm interviewing him. He goes, there's a guy in the corner with a hat, blah, blah, blah. But just like the kid said, he wasn't there for the interview. He came
Right.
after the fact. He goes back down, and he goes, well, I'm in this little room. It's like a little wine cellar or something. He goes, it's an elongated room, blah, blah, blah. There's a cinder block in the corner. Are you ready? I see a little girl with her hands
Oh, wow.
covering her face. He was not there for the investigation. That 22-year-old kid almost fell over.
Yeah, no, that's
Well,
My
see,
camera guy goes, holy shit, Chuck. He goes, you had to tell him. I go, I guarantee you I did not tell him.
See, that's where I was going with it. So the psychic, sensitive, they write their stuff down.
Do it at the end then, right?
We'll compare at the end.
Perfect.
And,
Yeah, I
and,
agree.
and because the first investigation, I try to do a location, if I can, twice. Because the first time is gathering evidence. Now let's take the notes based on the evidence of meter hits, where this way we get a game plan, where to focus. Look at the notes of the sensitive or the medium or the psychic, and now let's start
And see if they
compiling.
kind of
Yes. And
blend.
And yeah, so, but
But for the most part, you don't use them for your investigations.
no, most of the time I don't.
You know what I think? I think, seriously.
No,
for
you're
the
saying
show-
with a smirk.
No, I'm
You're
being very
starting to
serious.
smirk now.
No, you're going to make me laugh. But I'm being
serious.
serious. We should actually have him come out. I used to own the Marine Hospital in Galena, Illinois. Marine, meaning not United States Marine Corps, meaning sea captains.
Okay.
It was built in 1859 by the only general that was an Indian. I believe his last name was Parker, one of Grant's friends. Yeah, well,
How bad can he be?
Oh yeah, because he's got your last name. But of course, that wasn't his original name, Chuck. He took it from somewhere. But anyhow,
Where
let
did he
me-
take it from? Why would they change it to Parker?
Well, come on, Indians didn't get born and you say, yeah, my name's Parker. So, but anyhow, where this is going is, the building was a 3-story historical building, and I had owned it, and I followed the history to it, and it was kind of spooky. I'd stayed in there a couple times, but it's 3 stories, and it was one of the first buildings to ever use steel girders. In other words, it ran girders from side to side on the walls, and then concave brick from girder to girder, and then had planks over top of it for the floor would be flat. Had a fireplace in every room. And then after that, for a while, I'm sure a lot of people died in that place, and it was one of the first ones to have central heat. What they did is they had a wood burner in the basement, and it would just, of course, back then there was no electricity or fans, but they had vents, so the heat would go through all these vents through the entire building. It was pretty wild. And it had indoor
Are
plumbing.
you saying
but-
my stories are long?
Sorry.
You're talking about
From what you
I'm
both
giving you
just
history.
told me, I'm thinking we got 2 locations
Oh no,
to film it.
and here's what's great about
Whatever
this.
you
too.
want.
No, we'd help you. But here's what's interesting too. After that, it came a sanitarium, and you can imagine back then. Okay,
Right.
it'd be like me and Chuck. Say we're working one night, and the guys he just went over to sleep. And we're getting tired of him. Maybe Chuck and I just had a shot of whiskey, and we're looking at each other. You think what I'm thinking? Chuck gets the pillow. I hold him down. Pretty soon he's dead.
Oh, there's a lot of that.
Oh, yeah, and then the next day, back you'd go, when the day crew come in, you go, yeah, Mr. Smith said he passed away last night. Me and chuckle each other. Well, we don't have to worry about him anymore.
Don't have to worry about that one. Don't have to change
So you
his
can imagine,
diaper
though,
anymore.
but stuff like that, probably went on all the time, but it's on 10 acres, and it's actually,
Could you get into it?
yes, I can.
How? Who owns it now?
It's a gentleman from Chicago. I can get into anything.
I'm
That's what you say to her, but then
I should rephrase that to you guys.
yeah.
I can get into some things.
Legally.
But what's interesting about the place, it's also got the largest oak tree in the state of Illinois. I actually had a guy come from Mississippi Farms when I bought it in '86, and he measured it, and he goes, this tree is like 250 years old. So I said, can you imagine this tree was here, started growing before any white people started even settling in here,
Right.
when it was just Indians. And of course, then you got across the Mississippi River in Dubuque, the mines of Spain. The Spaniards were there in 1620.
Wait, it's by the Mississippi River?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Galena was the largest. Means lead and Latin.
There's your conduit right there.
It was
Right.
it was the largest seaport north of St. Louis.
And what is the what did I do that investigation at? Turner Hall.
Yes.
What's that? Sandstone?
No, that's limestone.
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 Conductor. Huge. We were the first people allowed in Turner Hall for an investigation ever.
You been to Galena?
I've been through it, yeah.
You would
But
love it. I told you that
I mean,
before.
there's, because of the history and dating
You
way
gotta
back,
you have to do literally 2 locations.
we can do it.
No, I mean, you bring
Mm-hmm.
a team in. I'll try to get the girl from Paranormal Cops because she's out there, and I think she would do it. I only talked to her one time at their, like, when the show first came out, they had a big get
Mm-hmm. Right.
together, and I hooked up with them all there. I talked to her for a little bit. I don't really know her, but I do know her enough that I can say, hey, how you doing? Or I can call Ron and say,
Right.
give me a heads up with her. And,
Right. And what's interesting
because she's
also-
good,
yeah.
and I would like to do it with her or with another one.
And what's great, another thing that's interesting about Galena, the town, when the first, it was a little fur trading post there, 1822, 18s, but there was 2,000 Fox and Sauk Indians living there in that little valley before the town came, and then unfortunately they pushed them out, no good white
So
people.
what you got to do is you have to set up a time. I think fall would be the best because you don't want it 1,000 degrees.
Right.
And
Yeah, we take them to the tunnel, we could do
three
the
or
Marine
four,
Hospital is
3
very
or 4
interesting.
days, and I think you would have a
Yeah.
blast. Number one, and it would be worth your time because then you're not driving, 9 hours.
Put them up at the house.
Yeah, you stay in at the house. We could barbecue. We could do whatever. But we can do these investigations and 2 or 3 different things. I'll film them.
Oh, no,
And
it'd be fantastic.
And I think that would be
I'm
a
for it.
fun thing
Yeah.
to do because I love Galena. I
And
could live
especially
there.
since there's so much history and the Indian campsites and all that. I
Right.
mean, it just goes way back. There's a lot of Hopewell mounds in the area I can show you that are like 1,000 years old.
Well,
Yeah.
we got about 2 more minutes. Tell me what's on your agenda for probably the rest of 2016. I know where you're going Saturday.
And if you're not sure, just make something up. They won't know.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, I'll be at a convention in Mississippi.
Don't look at that guy, man.
Don't look at that guy.
No.
The one that's shaking his hand going, wrap it up. Wrap it up, wrap it up.
October 1st.
That's a fabulous Thunderbird song.
We'll be at the Dillinger Jail, Crown Point, Indiana.
that'll be cool.
Old South Pittsburgh Hospital.
Oh, wow.
I'll be at Twin City Opera Theater in Ohio. I'll be at Poasttown Elementary School in Ohio. I'll be at
Holy cow.
I'll be at I forget the name of the jail down outside of St. Augustine, Florida. I mean,
Oh, wow. You're all over the
oh,
place.
yeah, all over.
The Road Warrior. Hey, thanks for coming in, brother.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. And I look forward to seeing you again and having a show with you.
Like I said, we got to wrap up here. Thanks for coming in. Thanks for making the drive. I know you're doing this thing in Wheaton. Set up something with us, maybe in the fall, where we can do like 3-4 days where you're not breaking your ass,
Right.
And driving. Because once you get to Galena, it's chill time.
Right.
And I think you'd have a fun time.
And you got $10 me and Chuck can borrow so we get some Big Macs. Well, Chuck, man, times are tough. Like he
I'm
said.
not hungry. Just give me
For
five.
later on.
Give me
Later
five.
on, Chuck. Just 5? Okay,
Give him 5.
thanks. Yeah, times are tough. We still rolling?
I don't know.
I don't know.